Clear that up real fast. When I was 17 years old, I had my entire life planned out. I knew where I was going to live, what job I was going to have, who I was going to marry. I knew it all. Then something happened. Have you ever, does anybody bake? Anybody in here bake anything? Okay, a couple people. All right, when you have a cookie and it's put under too much heat, it starts to crumble. It starts to fall apart a piece at a time until there's absolutely nothing left. That's what happened with my plans. There's kind of one piece of it started to fall away a little bit at a time until I didn't have any plans. And when I got to that point, I was like, well, what do I do? And the only thing that I could think to do is to seek God. And so I started asking God all sorts of questions. I was like, I thought I was in your plans, you know, you'd given me this specific skill set, I thought this is what I was supposed to do, and it's all gone now. And I realized that God had another option that He wanted me to look at. I could have done those things that I had planned out, all that stuff that I wanted to do, but that's not what God had. God had something else. And so I signed up for Youth with a Mission. In 2008, that summer, I had gone on a missions trip to Nicaragua. And I had learned about Youth with a Mission, and I was like, you know what? This is what I think God wants me to do. Because I want to spread His word, I wanted to do missions, so I did. And we have what we call a discipleship training school. And in that, it's a 5-month period, and the first 3 months are an intense time of learning about God, about His character, about how to have a relationship with Him. And the last 2 months are an overseas missions trip. So in my overseas missions trip, we went to India for 2 months to work with street children. These are some kids who are in the baddest situations you can think of. Absolute worst. Their parents have thrown them out or sold them into prostitution. And this ministry would take these kids out of these situations and give them education, give them food, and Christ's love. And so while I was there, I went up on top of a mountaintop one morning, me and my team did, to watch the sunrise. And as we were watching the sun come up, I was thinking, this is something that God has created for us to see, because it's so beautiful. It's something that God has put in this world to make it bearable, so to speak. And so I was sitting on the mountain, and I started looking around to my left and to my right, and I started seeing all these little villages. You could see their houses and their roofs, and you could start seeing people start to move around. And I remember looking over my right, and I saw this little old lady, and she was carrying this big basket of stuff on her head. And I was like, you know, that's kind of cool. And then all of a sudden it hit me that all these people that I saw were living so that they could survive, so that at the end of their life they could die for absolute no purpose. You see, in India there's 1.8 billion people right now. It's the most populated country. And 2% of that is Christian. 2% of that is going to heaven. 2% of that knows who God is. The rest of them are surviving to survive, to die and go to hell. It's a rather sad existence. I started to cry when I thought about that. And then I told God that I was going to do whatever I could to make sure that the little lady carrying the basket on her head, the people that were waking up and just moving around so that they could survive, that I was going to reach them for Him. I was going to share God's love and teach them about who He is so that they could live to tell others about who God is. So at the end of life, when they die, they go to heaven and they get to have an eternal relationship with Him. That's my story. What's yours going to be?